child who I have not warned at all. Again, I'm here right now just because Hope, that's his lunch, and he's not eating it. So I'm going to take it away, and then I can have my own lunch. Are you going to eat it, Hopi? Marley's going to get it. Unless I pick it up for you and put it away. Hey, Goose. He's coming, isn't he? Hurry up and eat it so I can have my lunch. Now that the Labradors... Where are you? There he is. Yeah. Oh. The dog politics is happening. Yeah, Marley. You finished your lunch, did you? Was it good? So Marley now has to have lunch, like proper lunch, as opposed to just a treat, because he's getting old and his stomach wasn't handling breakfast and dinner. So all his meals are smaller, and they're mixed with warm water now. And you're doing much better, aren't you, Mr. Marley? Now, I know some dogs only have one meal a day, but Marley, when we got Marley, he's a rescue dog, and he was like very skinny, and I think his previous owner had starved him, and so yeah, he couldn't handle one big meal a day. So he actually started off when we got him having lunch, but eventually we phased him into just breakfast and dinner. But yeah, now he's back to... Hello, who's that? Philosopher King. Sorry, I have to bring it closer to read. Good to know the live chat seems to be working today. Hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, so Marley's back on his... Oh, I said hello, Marley. I was talking to people on the internet. He's looking for whoever I said hello to. But yeah, so he's back on a 3-meal schedule instead of 2. He's always had that sort of thing going on. But yeah, he's he's doing a lot better. Hope he's his usual self, just he gets a bit anxious sometimes. And when he's anxious, he's less likely to eat. But also he eats more if he's jealous. How many pets do I have? Just these 2 guys at the moment. So the little one's Hope, and this one is Marley. Hope is my dog. Marley's my brother's dog, but my brother isn't around that much these days, so yeah, I'm looking after him more. I actually have 2 brothers, but one of them's disabled, so I mean the not disabled brother. So of course Marley's a Labrador. Hope, as far as we know, is a Maltese Chihuahua. They're both rescue dogs, but Marley we got when he was at least a year old. He was fully grown. We don't know exactly how old he is. Hope we got when he was a baby, so his mum was in the rescue shelter. But we think he might have been hand-raised initially, because he's a little bit different. And he's also always had anxiety issues. I think because he had a hernia when he was little, and, probably the pain from that constantly, made him a bit anxious because he just wasn't sure why he was in pain so much. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good to rescue when you can. And we got really lucky to get one as a puppy. I had a pet golden retriever when I was a kid. Yeah, so these aren't the first dogs I've ever had. We had a female Labrador before Marley. She was a bit chubby, but she was very smart, whereas Marley is a bit more dopey. It's kind of funny. And then before Hope, we had a little dog called Max. He was a Chinese crested dog, but he had fur, not one of the bold ones. And the personalities are just so different. It's so funny having the same basic dog combination, but yeah, really different personalities. Ali and Max got on really well. These guys are a little bit more antagonistic, and that's why Hope only started to eat when Marley came over and started threatening. Anyway, Hope's almost done, so I'm going to get up in a moment and make myself some lunch. Don't know what to get yet. It's cold here in Sydney, so of course Hope likes to sit in the sun because he's only little. I don't know if you can hear my stomach rumbling. Yeah. And so right now what he's eating, he's got an Oravet dental chew. I tried brushing his teeth because he has problems, but Yeah, yeah, like all those little teeth in such a tiny mouth, whereas Marley doesn't have dental issues like that. But unfortunately, Hope, especially being anxious and, not having done it from a small age, he doesn't like having his teeth brushed at all. Even when I use one of those little finger things, um, and like the toothpaste that tastes like chicken or whatever, he just was not keen. So, Oravet Dental Chew, I don't know. Hopefully it's working all right. Oh, hello, dogs. Are sincere, like young children. Good job helping them out. Hey, thanks for the super chat. Sorry, I'm here. I'm here. I'm just sort of trying to read at an awkward angle. My dog, hang on, come back. My dogs never let me brush her teeth easily. Yeah, it's really hard to brush teeth on a dog. Sorry. Yeah. No, dogs like animals make more sense to me. Oh, and look, there he goes. Marley's trying to lick the little bits and pieces that Hope's left behind. Um, yeah. I think I do find it easier to socialize with animals, I gotta say. So there's one of those possibly schizoid things, I guess, about me. Um, I don't know about young children though. I'm not really into small kids. Uh, hmm. Then again, I haven't spent a lot of time with small kids for a while. There's more kids in the extended family these days, but I can't keep up with them, and the sun is in my eyes. I can't keep up with them. There's like more every family gathering, and I don't remember which one is which, because like every time I see them, they've grown up some more, and it's just I can't keep up. I'm not good enough with people to yeah, remember everyone's names. And then I think because I dress up more of that goth style when I'm at a family gathering, I think some of them are scared of me. So, which is fine because if they're scared at me, they won't ask me for anything. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna hop up and get something to eat. But yeah, so basically, I prefer animals to people, but I'm better at people these days. Um, now, I kind of messed up my tripod a little bit, so this is gonna get what's scary about goths. Well, when you were like a small child in so my extended family in Australia is, conservative Catholic. So they probably think I'm like the devil or something. Uh yeah, hang on, let me try and get this angle so I don't have to. I'm just gonna grab a tissue as well. They just speak their mind, kids. Dogs do the same in their own way. Yeah. Um, I guess they can both be demanding in their own way. Ah, but yeah, no, hang on, let me just grab a tissue. Sorry, I'm gonna be like in and out of camera because I can't have the camera following me. I've seen like people try to come up with drones to follow you around. But yeah. I don't know how that works though, because aren't drones really noisy? It looks like I have to manually scroll the live chat, which is a bit annoying. Um, I goth as a kid. I don't think I really saw goths when I was younger. Like I have one memory of seeing some punk goths at the shopping mall, but then I live in a conservative area, so um, yeah, just didn't see them around. And then even these days, I think you only really see them at like events. I'm probably one of the few that just goes random places dressed up. But yeah, I've got to get some lunch. So, the fridge is over here. Sorry, I'm going to be in and out, and I don't know what to eat. It's like some. The other thing is, okay, so quick catch up because I know not everyone's on my Patreon to read about what's going on with me, but I had a stomach bug last weekend, which was not fun, and so I've been trying to get better about my diet. And I've been more careful, like, there's the bland stuff that you start with, and then you introduce stuff, and then I got some Yakult, and I've been trying to make myself eat yogurt, which I'm not so keen on, but I've been managing to do it. And then, but yeah, so I'm trying to eat a bit healthier. I've also had issues with sleep, but that's getting better because we're keeping my disabled brother up later, which means he wakes up later, and my body is slowly starting to adjust into a better sleep pattern. My mood was really bad last week, so I wouldn't have been able to even talk like this. Um, Nice thing. Yeah, I was actually gonna do like an update video on the kitchen because when we got it redone, I did a video of what the kitchen used to look like, and I've just never got around to finishing the kitchen update video. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got some like high-tech stuff in it because Mum's like, this is probably the last kitchen I'll ever have, so let's go all out. But even the toaster to me is like Skynet because it just like it doesn't even have a physical thing that you use to push the toast down. It's just you press a button and it goes down by itself, and I'm just like, okay. I didn't really need it to be automated like that, but all right, we'll go with it, I guess. Anyway, so I'm trying to eat a little bit better. So yeah, trying to think about food, but also I'm a little bit like I'm trying to be more higher energy today, but I have had issues with my mood pretty badly. I mean, it was worse last weekend, I think, because my stomach went out and the stomach's connected to the brain, and so I was just having a terrible time. Um, and I've still got a little bit of that going on, and then I've got other things stressing me out. Yeah, so are those the main things? Is my stomach? Oh yeah, my back's feeling better. I've been keeping up the physio stuff, so it's kind of just like everything at once, trying to make everything better. Um, just be healthier, and hopefully if I'm physically healthier, maybe that'll help my psychology. And yeah, been seeing the psychologist still. Yeah, I don't have anything particularly optimistic to say at the moment. I mean, her approach is better, but so far, have I made any progress? Maybe not. But anyway, so that's what's going on, and that's why I'm probably on. I don't know. I could have bread. I'm getting a little bit tired of bread. Bread's easy on the stomach. Or I could have rice. We do have. I don't know what I feel about that. What's. Do I want noodles? Probably not. What did I have last time? Oh, the chicken. We've got chicken. Sorry, I know I'm ignoring the camera at the moment. I mean, the whole point's having lunch, right? This is what happens a lot, is I get like stumped about what to eat for lunch, and then it takes me forever. And then sometimes I lose my appetite before I actually eat anything, so. Should I make some noodles? Okay, my options are noodles or soup rice or an English muffin with like some Vegemite or something. I gotta go. But a linked lighter so you might want. Oh, okay. See you later. Yeah, sorry, I don't give warning. I was just like, wow, I have the place to myself for a bit. So yeah, I'm really bad at scheduling live streams. Whenever I don't know what to eat or want something quick to eat, I just have cereal. Yeah, I'm not a huge cereal person. What do we have? Not a lot. Oh, there's Wheat Bix, but no, I think I need something hot. So, at least like there's, so toast. Well, if I have an English muffin, I'll chuck it in the toaster. So that's gonna be hot. If I make noodles, that'll be hot. If I make soup rice, that'll be hot. So what do I feel like? This is the. Oh my God! Just eat something. Noodles, I'll have to clean up a bit. Soup rice is a bit. Maybe I'll just make a English muffin. I know it's terrible, like spending forever trying to figure out what to eat. I guess I've got a lot of bread and I've got to eat it, so I'll just make like the English muffin. And then I'll probably want more to eat. So what's a good angle? Oh wait, there's also this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna have my English muffin, and then my brother's carer brought us like some bakery stuff, and so if I'm still hungry after the English muffin, I'll eat some of that. Now, yeah, like I said, I kind of messed up my tripod, and I think it'll be okay, but I'm just gonna be, like, I'm not using the tripod, I'm just gonna be resting the camera against stuff, and so I'm sorry, it's maybe not the best angle, but we'll do our best. So, yeah, English muffin. I'll have it with some Vegemite. Sometimes it's annoying that they're not cut, like, properly, but hey, we'll do what we can. I know I'm weird liking plastic plates. I don't know why. Like, everyone's like, why don't you use a ceramic plate? Because I just like the plastic ones for some reason. That's right, I was going to go on a plastic rant the other day, but that can wait. Hello, Marley, I'm not giving you any. Oops. Okay, alright, I'm going to pop this. Oh, shit. I'll show you what the toaster's like, hey. Seeing as I've talked it up, the English muffin would be my choice of those picks. Okay, so... Alright, here is this, and I'm not sure how much to put on for the muffin. I think maybe I need to go in 2 goes, because even though it's supposed to be smart, I notice it heats more at the top rather than the bottom. I don't know, but yeah, so like... Oh, it's not... That would help. Sorry if I was loud. Okay. Like, who needs a toaster that does this? Anyway, so that's that. I've got to go and get all the... I got to get all the other bits and pieces. But yeah, like, isn't that just overkill for a toaster? But whatever, you know, I'm not the one choosing the appliances around here. So... Got me butter. And me Vegemite. And what do I want to drink today? Maybe I'll just have water. Although I should have some more milk in my life, so... Fine, I've got lactose-free milk, so that's okay. I'll survive. You know, this stuff. So... Okay. And, oh, I'm really sorry about the angle there. Hey, that's what I get for not being a serious YouTuber. Yeah, and I'm sorry it's taken me so long to like make new videos again. Is that almond milk? No, it's just lactose-free milk. So I think they take like regular milk and you put in like it's like some type of bacteria or something that, or maybe it's an enzyme actually. I don't know. It must be an enzyme, because if it was a bacteria, it might turn it into like some other product. But yeah. So the enzyme breaks down the lactose, and then you can drink it if you've got issues like me. I wasn't always lactose intolerant, but yeah. Well, one of the things that I didn't know is lactose-free milk actually tastes pretty good, because when you break down the lactose, it breaks down into like the different sugars or something, and so it tastes a little bit sweeter than regular milk, and I'm just like, oh, why didn't people tell me that sooner? And I didn't really even know I was I had developed a lactose intolerance until I watched the Jim Jeffries special called Intolerant, where he goes on this huge journey. But yeah, at the start, he talks about how he became lactose intolerant at the age of 30 something. And I'm like, oh, that's possible? Because I used to be able to drink milk fine. But yeah, at some point I lost it. Kind of million. Don't have lactose intolerance. Yeah, you don't have to. Although, if you don't have lactose intolerance, it's a good idea to keep up the regular milk just so that you don't become lactose intolerant. Okay, it's hang on. Let me turn this on. So, I'm just gonna like spin them around a little bit. Hang on. Okay, I didn't overkill them this time. So, I'll put it a little bit lower and just go again. And I think I'm gonna have to watch it just so I don't... I tried putting it on like 5 the other day and it just got a little bit too crispy. So yeah. But hey, like all these settings and stuff. Okay, so I do use frozen because sometimes I take stuff out of the freezer. The crumpet one, I think it just does it like on one side, but I can't remember if it's maybe it's just the inside or just the outside, and it's confusing. But if you double press it, it goes blue, and then you can do fruit breads like your raisin bread. Yeah, anything that's got a bit more sugar in it so that it doesn't completely fry the hell out of it. And then a bit more when it comes up and it's not quite done, you can just send it down for a little bit longer. Oh, and then there's this. So like if I'm not sure, I don't really use this, but I could have a look at it. And then it just takes it back down. Like, okay, cool. That's where my toast is at. Yeah. It's a bit of overkill for a toaster, I gotta say. But hey, it hasn't broken down at least. That's my concern is like if you have a physical lever, then if it goes wrong, you can just jiggle it. But this toaster is more complicated than my car. Yeah, it's a bit like that. And just when everything's automated like that, I don't know, I just worry a bit more about things going wrong. And just because something is new doesn't mean it's better. Advanced toasting technology, yeah. It's just like even with all that tech, it's not perfect, and that's why I have to turn it around. Like I shouldn't have to. Oh, here it comes. How is it looking now? Yeah, okay. I'll just put it on a bit more. And then okay, so I have to get ready to butter everything. We're back over here, unfortunately, and then I'm gonna run over with my plate to the toaster. You see it from there? Sort of. Oh dear. Don't worry, the company will fix it for you for a pricey maintenance fee. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like with the old toasters, you just jiggle it until it works. With this one, if it breaks down, I don't know. And here it goes. Can you see it from there? It's probably not going to get high enough. Alright, yeah, that's good. I'm trying to save power, so turn it off with the PowerPoint because power prices and not that I'm in charge of power, but you know, I'm trying to do my bit and I'm super sorry. Do you want to see me like putting this stuff on? Oh man. No, one day like it would be nice to get some better vlogging equipment, but I can't really justify it at the moment. But on the other hand, if I don't get the stuff and don't set up properly, then you know I can't get better at vlogging. So it's kind of like I need to improve my situation to do better vlogs, but to justify it, I need to have been doing better vlogs to make better videos to, I don't know, get more happening on my YouTube. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I can see there's a message come up. I can't read it just yet because I'm still doing this. Hello, Marley. You've come to harass me again, have you? He wants my food. Okay, so I realized, like I said, let's have lunch together, and I'm basically making what looks more like breakfast food, but okay, that's where we're at. All right. Yeah. Okay, put all this stuff away. And then we'll go and sit over on the table. Now you need to find a way to prop up the camera. Right, just give me a moment. I'll just steal my brother's. Little pillow for his tablet. Okay. Gas is super expensive. Yeah, that's a pretty global thing. Although we produce gas here in Australia, and so there's a lot of talk about like, why aren't we saving more gas for our own use? Breakfast for dinner. Hey, yeah, you can have whatever. I like that McDonald's does all day breakfast nowadays. Sorry, I'm going to be eating, so I can't talk as much. And yeah, I realized There's like a genre on YouTube of ASMR where people just eat stuff. My little brother watches some of that, and I'm just like, I don't understand the appeal of, and you know, they've got the microphone so you can hear like all the chewing going on. I don't get it. Mukbang? I'm not sure what that is. Do I want to know? Anyway, it's nice and peaceful with everyone out. You know, apart from the doggy eyes watching me out of the corner. I think people just want to watch skinny girls eat massive amounts of food. Oh, well, like, I'm a little bit skinny. Not as skinny as I used to be, but I don't eat massive amounts of food. But no, the ones that my little brother watches, it's some dude who just buys all this McDonald's and then eats it. So it's not even a skinny girl, it's just this dude, and he seems to... Oh, it's the name of that type of video. Okay. Anyway, so lunch stuff. What do people normally talk about at lunch? I suppose I could watch the TV, but... Well, I don't know about that. Sorry, I know there's... I've had a little bit of the hay fever problem as well, and I tried to come off the nasal spray, and I think it just made me heaps dizzy. But yeah, no, so the eating through people vicariously, I don't know that it's that, because ASMR has that whole bunch of people who are into the sounds, and they think that the sounds give them like a tingly feeling or something. Instead of eating a 4,000 calorie... Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. I guess there'd be some people out there who might go for that. I struggle to understand why. Oh. Yeah. I guess I'm glad that this camera is not going to pick up all my chewing sounds. And then after lunch, what am I going to do? I've been trying to spend a bit less time at the computer. That's another thing I'm trying to work on. Oops. Lots of strange things going on out here on the internet. Oh, yeah, my god. And sometimes I watch videos about stuff that I don't even really care about. So I'm like, how did they come up on my radar? Probably just because YouTube's like, hey, watch this. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, man. Like, I've been watching video game content occasionally. But no, it's not about the video games themselves. It's about the controversy of things around video games. And sometimes I watch that stuff. And I'm just like, why? I don't even care about this whole world of video games. But so now I know more about what, like, loot boxes are. And I agree, it's a shitty money-making tactic. The whole thing of trying to shoehorn NFTs into video games, like, come on. I think I put just a bit too much Vegemite on this piece. Mm. Yeah, it's about time crypto and NFTs started to get hit, and the whole Web 3.0, I think it just really overlooks some of the things that's good about the current internet. And like the Facebook's meta thing as well. Like I don't want to be stuck in virtual reality. Are you kidding? Yeah. I mean, Bitcoin I think will go up and down for ages, but the trouble with Bitcoin is like if you got in early, okay, yeah, you made a lot of money. But by the time that the rest of us find out it's even a thing, it's too late. You know, if you find out about something that's making people a lot of money, don't invest in it because you're late to the party and all you're doing is propping up the people who got there first. I don't know, that's my feeling. It's like, you know, it makes me think of tulips and all this kind of stuff. And like the GameStop thing, you know, once people found out about the GameStop thing, it was kind of too late because the main profit to be made had already been made at that point. That's why it hit the news. You know, things like that don't hit the news until it's too late to really get involved. And then it's all this, it all feels like this big scam as well. Yeah, it's good that people know about the tulip thing. Oh, I was watching this video about the meme stock stuff is so sketchy. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of dodgy shit going on, and I'm just like, I think I'll just stick to, you know, the regular financial system. What's funny about crypto is like, they're all like, ooh, it's great because it's decentralized and it takes you, like, it means the government doesn't have control over you and they can't blah, 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 blah. But when someone gets scammed or, you know, hacked or whatever, suddenly they're running to the legal system of the mainstream world. And it's like, isn't that what you wanted to get away from? Like, what you come crying back to the mainstream way of doing things when your crypto goes bust? Like, you know, you can't have it both ways. Either you're in the system that has rules or you're out. But yeah, so one of the videos I watched was about the conspiracy theory to do with the, you know, those monkey NFTs. The government doesn't have control, just a bunch of rando tech bros pumping and dumping, manipulating the market. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been watching a lot of videos about that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God. And they're trying to make it like a thing? Come on. Well, I mean, I think there's a few people who genuinely believe in what it's supposed to be about, but you know, they're a bit naive. Yeah, it's sort of like the inner circle of the sort of crypto guys. They're probably doing all right, but their whole thing is sort of sucking people in, and it's sort of gives the vibe of a pyramid scheme. Sorry, my words are getting a little bit stumbly. All right. The question is, am I still hungry? Oh no, I said the H word and the dog is looking at me. Hey. Oh, sweetie. Oh, sweetie. Unfortunately, I can't give you all the food, huh? Yeah, I can't. I'm gonna look after your stomach. Oh, dear. Yeah. Oh, God, MLMs. Oh, no. It's funny how people forget the whole, like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. You know, all the sort of attempts to get rich quickly, that's just not how anything works. Unless you're incredibly lucky, which, you know, good luck. But yeah, no, so like I know a few people who do the whole crypto thing, and it sort of makes me a bit like, I hope you know what you're doing and you haven't put all your life's money into it, because, you know, we've seen more and more of that stuff collapsing. And, you know, I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight, I guess, that, like, you know, this was always sort of doomed to fail. Because, you know, when there's new technology and stuff, sometimes it does take a bit of radical belief. Oh, hang on. I'm just checking something. Okay. Oh, it was just, yeah, the live streaming thing is telling me strange things, but that's okay. I think we're still good. What was my train of thought? I'm so good at losing my train of thought. Oh my God. Something about crypto. Yeah, I'm still a bit tired. I slept a lot better last night, but I still wake up tired. I guess I'm not sleeping properly yet. Like, yes, I'm sleeping better, but that's not the same as having a good night's sleep. So it's going to take me a little while. But I really am hoping that I can push through, because there's just little dogs running around. But yeah, like, I gotta try and do more, you know, take more charge of my life. But it's difficult. It's difficult to sort of think through some of the things in my way. Yeah, and when I had that really bad stomach issue, like, I really do think it messed up my mood. But now that that's resolved, I'm still having problems with my mood. I'm seeing my GP tomorrow, and I might ask her a bit about some of the more physical physical issues, and see if, you know, maybe there's some tests I could do just to make sure that there's nothing else weird going on. I mean, things don't really show up in my blood test. At most, like, I think one time maybe I had low vitamin D, and another time slightly low iron. But I'm taking vitamin D tablets these days because I do not get enough sun. And we've also been in La Nina for like 2 years. So it just keeps raining and raining and raining. Um, uh, but yeah, so the first day that I saw my psychologist, she was sort of like, you know, maybe you should get more of these physical things checked out. I mean, she suggested a functional GP or integrative GP, but the problem with that field is that they have some good ideas in terms of, like, you know, testing and paying more attention to the patient, but and taking more time with the patient, but there's still a lot of pseudoscience in there and unproven science, and I haven't been able to find anyone in Sydney advertising in a way that makes me confident that they're only doing the real medicine and not the bullshit medicine. So yeah, I might just ask my GP instead. Although I think, like, you know, changing my diet a little bit, I think it is helping my stomach. It's just hard to. I don't know if I'm quite there yet, and I probably need to have more fiber. And I do have the Metamucil, but if I have the Metamucil, if I don't time it well, or if I have too much, that makes my stomach feel bad too. So it's sort of like weighing up all this crap. Yeah, so maybe I should ask if there's a different way to get fiber. Like, I saw like little fiber pills, but on the other hand, presumably they expand once you've taken them, and they look quite big as they are. So, uh, maybe that's not a great idea either. Um, so that's the gut stuff. And then the other thing I want to check about is the hay fever, because I tried to stop taking the nasal spray, and when I did, my left ear started to clog up again. And that's why I was getting the dizziness. I did try and do I think it's called the Epley maneuver, in case it was, like, you know, one of those little crystal things in your ears that gets knocked out of place, but that didn't work. So I think it was the hay fever flaring up again. And What concerns me about that is the current nasal spray that I have. It's like $50 a month, and this time private health insurance covered it, but I'm on a low level of private health insurance, so they're not going to cover it for a whole year. Um, yeah, but it's one of the few antihistamines that I've been able to push through the initial set of side effects. Um, yeah, to be able to just get it handled. I mean, I still get a little bit of the hay fever sniffles, so maybe it's weaker or I don't know. But my hay fever has been better since I've been using it, and also the ear has cleared up. But so I spray morning and night, and I tried to just spray in the morning, and that didn't seem to be enough to fix the ear. So yeah, if this is a long-term problem, I just wonder if I mean, maybe taking something else would work just as well without costing so much. Or maybe I need to see like an ear, nose, throat doctor just to work out why my hay fever has moved into my ear. Because I'm used to sneezing and sniffling and whatever throughout the year, but if it's moved up to my ear, I don't even know how that works. And then a couple of community posts ago, I shared a thing about how they know there's a link between those sort of allergies and mental health issues. And so yeah, I'm just sort of thinking like I've got the hay fever stuff and I've got ongoing stomach issues as well as the acute stomach bug I had last weekend. Like I do have ongoing stomach issues. And so those two things, they do impact your brain. I mean, your stomach has a lot of serotonin production going on, and also like immune related stuff. And then hay fever has to do with immune system stuff. And, I think they both have something to do with inflammation, and inflammation with the brain is associated with things like depression. I think there's still some question about what causes what, but presumably if I could fix my stomach and my hay fever, maybe that would help my mental health. Yeah, I'm tired of feeling unmotivated and directionless and yeah, just not knowing what to do with my life, not wanting to be here most of the time. And I feel like that's gotten worse as I've gotten older. And like there's only one way to age, and that's to keep getting older. And if it's going to just become a bigger problem, that's not a good sign for me. So, how can there's just so much I lost from my youth, and how can I get back to, some of those things that I've lost? Like I know, yes, I was less stable when I was younger. But at least I wasn't in this state of stagnation and yeah, just not really not knowing what to do with myself, feeling empty and just scrounging around for ways to pass the time, so I don't think anything too morbid. But so yeah, I'll talk to my GP about that. Oh, that's what I've got to do next, is I've got to do my physio exercises. So actually, maybe I should hop offline because while I'm in there, I actually use my phone to look up what the next exercise is, because the physio has me logged into this system that's like, okay, here are the exercises you've got to do through the week, and here's how many times to do them during the week, how many times to do them during the day, and then how many repetitions you do. I wouldn't call it fun. It's just something I have to do because, having the sore back was not fun, I gotta say. And like, it really affected my flexibility, and like sitting in different positions is difficult, and even just walking around the house was not too bad, but walking outside where the pavement is uneven, I just get like these random stabs into my back. And but yeah, no, I've been doing better. And I think with these exercises, At first I wasn't really sure what they were doing, especially like, so initially it was just stretches, I think, to get me through the pain, like the acute pain. But once that faded, now I'm doing exercises that are strengthening the core muscles. And, I thought, I've had this night routine which involves stretches and also sit-ups, or maybe they're crunches. I don't know. It's like I get the elbow and it goes to the opposite knee, kind of sit-ups. I'm not really good with exercise terminology, but like, I've been doing that kind of stuff and I'm a singer. So, using the diaphragm and all that. So I thought, the stomach muscles should be okay, but no, the core is like this whole other thing. And so, once I started doing those core strengthening exercises, the first day, I was like, did that really do anything? And so I was talking to my brother because he has had a lot of physio stuff and he knows a lot of this stuff and he's a sporty guy. And I'm like, what am I supposed to be feeling? Am I doing, can you check? Am I doing it wrong? But in the middle of talking to him is when I started to like feel the muscles going, oh shit, what just happened? And that's when I found out where the core muscles are. I'm like, oh wow, okay. And the funny thing is, with them kind of tighter, for a couple days after I started using them more, it kind of felt like I was wearing a permanent corset. So, yeah, um, clearly that part of my body has not been getting enough of that kind of exercise. So I think I'm doing better. Like overall, physically, I think I'm doing a lot better at the moment because, yeah, my stomach issues, I still have some stomach issues, but they're a lot better, especially compared to last weekend. But even then, like I think overall I'm doing better with my stomach. Um, and then, I've got the hay fever sorted out a lot better for the moment. And then my back's doing better. And physically, like, I think it's helping in other ways physically because, like, I definitely don't do enough exercise. It's usually just the night stretches, which includes some sit-ups and push-ups, and then taking my little dog for a walk. But it's not a long walk. Um, yeah, so I don't do enough exercise, and this is getting me to do a bit more exercise. Although there's so many things she's getting me to do now that it takes a while to get through all of them. Um, and the novelty is already starting to wear off. So yeah, exercising, like it's hard to find exercise that I want to do. I think what is working for me at present is that this is a more like it's more a medical focus because I had a real issue and I can see the real difference. Like the first day that I went to the physio, it was actually really surprising to me what a difference it made, especially in that acute phase. So I saw immediate evidence that it was worth doing. And then because, I know that I haven't been doing enough and I'm seeing this physio in more of a medical context. I don't know how to say it, but like just having it in that sort of a setting, I think makes me more inclined to do it. As opposed to if I was just doing if I joined a class for fun or whatever, like it's perhaps easier for me to do because it seems medical instead of just fun and frivolous, if that makes sense. But we'll see how long it lasts. I'm trying to keep it up. But yeah, the novelty is already worn off. But I do need to do more stuff. And like so I'm seeing her again in about a week, and it's sort of like as I improve, the intervals get longer and longer is how she said it. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Once I get to a good enough point, do I try and find a new class? I don't know what sport I want to do though. Like it's hard to find exercise that is fun, that does all the physical stuff without feeling like exercise and that's not boring. Because one of the things that I don't know, like the exercise that I think is the easiest for me is like those high ropes courses, the sort of obstacle courses in like where they have you go up onto a thing and you're like walking on little ropes and things. And then there's these blocks of wood and you got to figure out how to get from platform to platform, because that has like more of the problem solving kind of thing. And then the movements that you're doing, there are a lot of different movements involved, and so physically you're getting some workout as well. The problem is like it's kind of expensive if you were going to do it regularly. So it's not really viable in that sense. You know, I do it maybe like once or twice a year if I'm lucky. I think the one closest to me was renovating. I don't know if they finished. But yeah, stuff like that. Like if it's good exercise that I'm like good and interesting exercise that doesn't feel like exercise, chances are it's too expensive or it's inaccessible in some other way. Which yeah is frustrating. You know, I don't want to just join some running group or go to the gym. I've tried the gym and I know they have like classes, but they're not my sort of class. Like even the dance stuff. And the problem with adult dance in particular is unlike kids dance, they're not working you towards a concert. And if there's no goal, why am I here? I don't want to learn the same moves every week. Especially because a lot of the adults who do those classes can't actually dance. And so the class doesn't make any progress the way that kids do. And yeah, like, you know, give me a concept to do at the end. Why am I learning these moves? Give me a routine to learn and memorize instead of just having to learn the same moves every damn week and dancing to the same music sometimes as well. Yeah, I prefer dance classes if there's an actual goal. If there's no goal, I don't know. I don't feel enough fun from it. And I think with exercise, I hate the feeling of being sweaty as well. So if I don't experience fun in the normal way, and if I'm just getting sweaty and gross, it makes it really hard for me to want to do it. So yeah. I was gonna decide if I'm hungry yet, but I don't think I am. So, there's more bakery stuff there, but maybe what I'll do, what time is it? Hang on. 1:35. Wow, I'm like way ahead of schedule for today. I actually did all my Sunday cleaning before lunch, so because I woke up at 9. Well, I got up at 9. I woke up at 5. But then I managed to stay in bed. Usually I would go to the bathroom if I wake up early and then go back to bed. But I'm trying to convince my brain to stay asleep. So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go to the bathroom. I'll just stay in bed. And then I woke up again at 7, and that's the first time I heard my little brother making noise, which is a huge improvement because in the past few weeks, sometimes he's been waking me up at 4:30 in the morning. And it's like, no wonder I'm grumpy and can't function if I can't even get a basic thing like sleep. But yeah, so I heard him at 7, and then I dozed off, and then it was pretty much 9, and I'm like, I got a lot more sleep than usual. I might as well just get up. And so yeah, got all my cleaning done early. Big improvement, really. So yeah, I'm making some progress in some areas of my life. It's just, you know, the bigger picture. Also, like, so when I did my back, I didn't go to work because my back, I can't lift anything, and you know, the week after that is when I got my stomach issue, and then I think business has been a bit rough. So along with my back recovery, because the physio's like, you can't lift anything too heavy, and you've got to do these things to like, you know, I'm not supposed to sit around for too long. I'm supposed to go for a walk like every half hour to an hour. Although I think now I'm doing better. I don't have to do as much of that, but I've been trying, as you can see, I've been trying not to sit around too much, trying not to sit at the computer too much, drowning in YouTube, which is really easy to do. But yeah, I've been trying harder. Where was I going with all this? Oh yeah, but because I like, you know, have all these limits at the moment, or I have had, and then business has been a bit slow because it's winter, so plants slow down in winter. I work in bonsai, for anyone who didn't know. I just do that one day a week because I can't handle more. I'm so tired the day after I've done bonsai. I don't know why. Like I used to be able to do retail and just stand all day, but I guess maybe my last depression did a bit more lasting damage that I haven't gotten over yet. And then yeah, I'm small, so trying to carry big trees is just not going to happen for me. My boss does more of the heavy lifting, but every now and then I have to do a bit more. So given that, you know, trees are slowing down. Business is a bit slow because everyone's concerned about the economy, and I've been injured. So I think I might not be working at all this month. Um, so that gives me time to recover. But, you know, I gotta think more about just how I can have some kind of a job or, find a better income. I gotta go out to work myself. It's cool catching a stream. Yeah, no, thanks for dropping by. It's good to have at least one person to talk to because otherwise it's just me going like, hey. But yeah, no, have a good time at work. I'm probably gonna go and get ready for my exercise anyway, so hopefully not missing too much. But yeah, so just some final rambly thoughts to myself, I guess, is how do I find a more sustainable income? Yeah, you too. See ya. But yeah, so final thoughts for myself for end the stream is yeah, how do I find myself a more sustainable income that works with my mental health constraints, but also my physical constraints? Because clearly lifting stuff when I'm this small is not gonna work out for me. But then, I had the finance work from home job for a while, and that was just so boring because it's too easy. Like, I need a certain level of challenge, but if I don't have qualifications relevant to certain jobs, who's going to give me the job where I could get such a challenge? And then there's so many jobs that I don't know about, and then I find out about like years later, and it's too late to change trajectory to go after it, but that's assuming I would stick to it, because another problem I have is things to do with novelty. Things will seem interesting at first, but I lose interest very quickly, which is frustrating. It makes it hard to specialize and hard to focus on one area of life. Yeah. So I don't know how to get around that, but I do need to do something more for income, particularly because like I'm worried about Centrelink again. And so for those outside Australia, Centrelink is like the social welfare system, I guess like unemployment benefits, but also like if you're underemployed, or if there's also the disability pension and all that kind of stuff. Centrelink, so I'm on the one where like in theory I can work, but they did an assessment on me, and I think they've overestimated the amount that I can consistently work. And then right now I'm just struggling a lot. But the thing is, if they don't take your medical condition seriously, then they tend to just be horrible to you, and they make you go and do all this like pointless job search where they don't really understand you, and it's just stressful. And so why I'm thinking, oh, I need to find a better income stream is because I want to get away from Centrelink. I don't want to be stuck with them. They're horrible. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it would just be nice to get back on top of things, I guess. But it's the other thing that's tricky is like I only need money because you need money to survive, and I don't really want to live for too long because I'm not into the world. Oh, hello. How does Australia? Sorry, Marley, I'm talking to the phone again. My dog, anytime I say hello, the big dog's like, wait, who's here? Sorry. How does Australia handle mental health overall? Like the views and stigmas on it? I think things are getting better. It's just, they have all these programs that they bring in, but what they don't realize is that financial anxiety is a big part of mental health as well. And so our social welfare system is quite punitive. It assumes that you're a dull bludger who just doesn't want to work and just wants to mooch off the government. They don't necessarily, I mean, they have provisions to consider that you have illness or, mental health problems, but they're really bad at handling mental health. The one of the biggest stresses for me is when I have a medical exemption that's running out for my mental health in terms of this system, and then yeah, at the end of my medical certificates, if it looks like they're not going to make it easy for me to get the next one, I get stressed. And yeah, they assessed me as being able to work something like 20 hours a week, and I'm not even close to that. And like, anytime I get close, it's like I end up on this horrible mental illness spiral, and it's just like this is not, and it's getting worse as I get older, and yeah, I don't know. And so it's frustrating. I mean, they have like Lifeline you can call if you're feeling suicidal and you need someone to talk to. It's like a crisis hotline, but I have called them multiple times in the past. And what I notice is a lot of the time it feels like they're just following a script. And it feels like they can't really give you any real advice because they're volunteers, right? So most of them wouldn't have full-on psychological training, and so what happens is like I'll say I have this problem, this is what's getting me down, and what their response is, it'll be something like, "Oh, I can hear that you're having trouble with exactly what I just said," and I'm like, "Yeah, is that all you've got to say?" So it's like they're just there to be someone to listen to you and to make you feel like you're being listened to. But I just feel like they're just parroting back what I already told them. And so for me, I stopped calling them because I was just not getting anything out of it. And maybe one time I had one guy suggest, things I could look up online, like different services or whatever, but none of them were relevant to me. I guess I have more complicated problems because, like, yeah, it's not just depression. Now I know I've got the schizoid personality disorder, which hardly anyone knows even what that is. And then how do you treat it? That's what we're trying to work out in therapy. We've been looking at how can we combine stuff from CBT, schema therapy, DBT, but so far, I don't know. I mean, my psychologist is better in terms of like, I don't know, taking me a bit more seriously and not trying to push anything on me too heavily. And so I think she's trying, but yeah, I mean, what do we do this week? It was something to do with communicating, and communicating what you want. The thing is, when I read the handout, it was a handout from DBT, and a lot of that stuff I already do. The problem is not my strategy or, my understanding of how social things work. My problem is more that if I'm writing, I'm a lot better writing than I am at talking. Um, and if I'm talking face to face with someone, like I'm more likely to either shut down or I think I get a bit of problems with dissociating these days, where I'll just be watching myself. So even if I don't shut down, I'll be talking as normal, but on the inside, um, like I'm sort of like on an autopilot to get through the social interaction. And so sometimes it's hard to, like, the things that I might want might be a bit shut off, even though I seem like I'm talking normally. I don't know if that makes sense. So even though I know how I should be more assertive, I can't always do it. And then, yeah, it depends very much on the situation. And also when you're face to face, having that sort of live interaction, you have to think on your feet more. And if it's difficult and complicated, and if I don't have all the information I need, that makes it a lot harder for me to know what I want and then push for what I want. Um, yeah, that kind of stuff. Um, so there's not really anything specifically for schizoid personality disorder, and I think that's fairly universal. Although Australia is not like I know in America, there's more of a culture of people going to therapy, and I think in Britain, in the UK, they have a bit more of a mental health kind of thing. I think in Australia we might be a bit behind, and maybe that's a bit of the Aussie culture because you have the blokes and Sheila's image, and yeah, Australia is also fairly conservative, just overall. Uh, but there's been a lot of the awareness campaigns. It's just like, Are You Okay Day gives me the shits because, for one day people will ask, Are you okay? But then if you say you're not, they have no idea what to do about it. And so it's just this token sort of thing. And then the most recent one is this push-ups challenge, which I think is going on right now. Um, and it's supposed to be like raising money for mental health stuff, or I don't know. But like the way that they advertised it was just terrible. I think I had some screenshots somewhere. I can't show you on this phone, but um they're like, "Oh, when I feel down, I push up." And I'm like, "Good for you. That's not how mental health works. You can't just do a bunch of push-ups and suddenly you're fine." Like, it's very much a campaign for people who already have the motivation and physical fitness to do like 3,000 push-ups in a month. Um, I think it was something like that. It was like 100 push-ups a day when you work it out. And I think actually they did it it's supposed to be over 24 days, or I don't know, it's over some stupidly short amount of time. You're supposed to do all these push-ups. It's like, are you kidding me? That's not going to help me at all. Like, before I haven't been doing any push-ups since my back injury, but like I could do maybe 5 on a good day. I could maybe just get up to 10 push-ups, and that's it. You're not getting anywhere near 100 push-ups a day. Get lost. And then to tell me like it's something to do with improving mental health. Ugh. I mean, maybe they make money for different programs, and that's great. But don't go around pretending that this is going to help me as someone with mental illness get better. Like, you're deluded. And the way that it started is just like, I think one of the guys had some injury or was in hospital or something. And he got depressed, but it sounded like that he and his friends had been doing push-ups before he got sick as a challenge. And then after he got sick, he decided because he felt a bit depressed, suddenly this is going to be an event for depression or whatever. And it's just like, okay, I think because like, he got depressed because he was actually injured, not depressed like a lot of us get, where life just sucks and it doesn't stop sucking and you've got to somehow find a way through it. I don't know, it was just like one of the weirdest campaigns I've ever seen, because it started to, like, it was kind of, I think it was well-meaning, and a lot of these campaigns are well-meaning, but this one in particular kind of implied that it's like you have to do all these push-ups, otherwise you're going to have bad mental health or something. I don't know. It was just, some of the screenshots were really bad. So, like, Australia is not the greatest for mental health, I gotta say. Probably better than some countries, like for example, Japan. I'm half Japanese. I know I don't look it at all. But in Japan there's a very high suicide rate. And for example, like, I've been talking to my mum. My mum is the Japanese one. She's had a bit of stress, and so, like, I did at one point suggest, hey, like, some of these things a psychologist could help you with. And she's like, "I'm not seeing a psychologist ever. They don't do anything, blah, blah, blah." But I think also there's a sort of pride element, or, Japan has the honor culture. And so she's just not going to see a psychologist. Oh, hello. Hi, I was actually going to leave and do some exercises, but I guess I can stay a little bit longer. What time is it? Okay, it's not 2 yet. But I think, yeah, I will have to go and do my exercises in a bit, because it takes so long now. Oh, dear. But yeah, no. So where was I before I started talking about mental health? I think it was about the issue of money. Yeah, it would be nice if I could get away from the Centrelink system, so that I don't have to have them stressing me out, putting pressure on me, not understanding my mental health issues, which, yeah, I've just been like, I really hope this is not something that's just going to get worse as I get older, but that's kind of the pattern that it feels like. But I keep trying to do things like, I'm still trying to find a band. I did tell myself I'd go solo, but I recognize that I'm just not going to be motivated enough to do my solo stuff consistently. So yeah, still looking for a band to join. Because I think that does a lot of the things I've said before. So, it forces me to get out of the house, forces me to keep working on my vocals, forces me to socialize. I get a bit of exercise. Like, it covers a lot of points for me in a way that I could do. I just need to find the right band, which is a real challenge, especially in Sydney, and especially with my taste in music. I'm also like trying to do more art stuff. So I've got the studio, and I post a lot about that on Patreon. Like every week I go to the studio and then I do like a little Patreon post about what I did that day. And lately I've also been going on little rants because Facebook has gotten really weird with their censorship. Like I don't even know what keywords I'm allowed to mention, because I think that's how they operate. And so they don't take context into account. And if you say the wrong keyword, like I think I said kidnap, and then they put restrictions on me. So I've been ranting less on Facebook lately and just doing it on Patreon instead, because I don't always feel like making a video about stuff. Writing is easier for me, so yeah. But no, the point being, I've been going to the art studio, trying to work out the creativity, I guess some of the art therapy type stuff. And it gets me out of the house as well. And occasionally I bump into someone at the studio, although I think they think I'm a lot younger than I am. And I'm also just quiet there because I just have a sense that, like, yeah, I'm sort of a bit of an odd one out there. I don't really fit in. But you know, I bump into people sometimes and I talk to them, so that's sort of like socializing. And then yeah, I'm working on, like I said, all the sleep and the diet and the exercise. Actually, I am doing all those things: sleep, diet, exercise, and then the keeping busy stuff, I guess. Huh, wow, that's a lot of effort for me. Well done, me. Slowly getting more on top of stuff, so hopefully I can keep it up. That's always the trouble, though, is like, you know, if I'm doing better at one point, there's no guarantee I'm gonna wake up tomorrow feeling the same way. I hate that my mind is unpredictable like that. Makes it really hard to plan what I'm gonna do day to day, but yeah, where was I going with that? I don't want to be on Centrelink. Right, because they're horrible to me and because they get in the way of me trying to fix myself. But if I could find like a way to make money that doesn't make me hate being alive any more than I already hate it. um, I don't know, like I guess I could try and do more on YouTube. Um, it's just I don't have the focus to be a regular YouTuber, and I'm not willing to sort of sell out and make videos about stuff that I don't really want to make videos about, you know? Like, anytime, like, I watch some of the stuff about how to be a good YouTuber, and they're like, oh, find your niche and then beat the crap out of your niche. And then, you know, do all these things to keep your audience interested and make them feel like they're your friends or something. And I think last video, maybe I said, YouTubers are not your friends. They're totally manipulating you. Um, I, I don't know. It's just like to turn YouTube into a job is a lot of work, and you do stuff that I'm frankly not interested in. I'm here to vlog. I'm not here to put on an image. So yeah, like it would be nice if I could just do YouTubing as a job, I guess, or like, you know, all my regular creative stuff as a job, but because I'm so chaotic, it's like that's just not realistic. So what's a realistic job I could do that would make me enough money that I don't need to be on Centrelink's radar? Although, or like, I think I just need to get the equivalent of 15 hours of work a week. And I'm doing one shift a week at Bonsai, so that takes about half of that. But for the rest of the time, if they don't review how many hours I'm expected to work, I need to find something else. And that's stressful because, yeah, I had that work from home job, but it was fine at first. But then I was dissociating while I was working because it was so easy and I could just go on this autopilot. And it was like I'm already having trouble feeling connected to the world and reality and all this kind of stuff. And that job was just exacerbating all of that and making me feel like, yeah, it was not a good, it did not go well. So I don't think I can go back to that sort of work from home finance stuff. I need something else. And I just don't know where to look. But yeah. Anyway, so physically I'm doing better. Psychologically, I'm trying. At least I'm able to make a video. I think some of you, quite a lot of you actually saw the community post where I talked about how being when I go into more of an overt schizoid mode, it's hard to make videos. Do you enjoy food? Some food is good, but I'm not motivated by food. like I'll eat because I'm hungry and because I have to eat, and it helps if the food is good. If I don't like food, if I don't like what I'm eating, quite often my appetite will go away. So that's a challenge because I'm already kind of small and I need to make sure I don't go below, I think like 50 kilos or something would be underweight for me. There was a time in my life where I was down to 47, and that was not good. That was when I was on the liquid diet because of the antidepressants I was on. I think I need antidepressants, but they just mess me up in other ways. So that's frustrating. But, like maybe if I can keep up some of these good steps I've made in terms of physical health, maybe eventually it'll filter up to my brain and I'll start feeling a bit better. But I don't know. If all I had was depression, maybe that would work. But knowing that I've got a personality disorder, which is much more pervasive and deeper set, will the sleep, diet, exercise thing be enough, and keeping busy? And I think if I sort out my finances, that will help because that does stress me out. And I don't know why, because like my parents, and my mum has even said, like with all the stuff that I'm paying for at the moment in terms of psychology appointments, physio appointments, my studio and whatever, mum was like, "Are you doing okay for money?" Um, so, I guess implying that she would help me out. And of course, I'm not paying rent. I'm living rent free with my parents. So I have less expenses. I'm not doing too badly, and I could drop a few things, or um I could see the psychologist less often because is it really going to make much of a difference? At the moment, I'm seeing the psychologist weekly because I want to make progress faster. But if I got really tight with money, I could just stretch that out a bit to every 2 weeks because so far not much has happened. Um, I've been keeping track of my moods. It's a bit all over the place. I haven't been tracking it long enough to see any particular trends. It sort of depends on the situation, I think. Um, what else have I been doing with her? She reads more of the stuff I write. I think that's another reason I haven't been ranting on Facebook as much, actually, because I've been ranting more to my psychologist who said, "Yeah, just send me everything." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" Anyone who's seen either my Facebook or my Patreon posts knows it's a bad idea to tell me that I can send you everything with no word limit. Um, at my music uni, my music school, I think I'm responsible for a word limit being introduced into the composition reflection journals because the first semester I was there, I just wrote down everything. And then the next semester, they're like, "Okay, you can only do this many words." And I'm like, "Oh, shit." I think that was me. Because I have so much going on in my head that I think about, and like, it wants to come out one way or another. Oh dear. Where was I going with that? I don't even remember. Psychology and stuff. I'm sorry. I get off track so easily. Um, yeah, no, psychology. So, yeah. But yeah, no, so I was talking about the financial stuff. Yeah. Well, so given that I'm not going to be homeless if I run out of money, why am I so stressed? I think it's because my parents are finance types. Like, mum worked in banking, and dad is still an accountant. And so that's sort of like I've grown up with the whole like, oh, go and shake the money tree. Don't spend too much money. Gotta save things. A lot of the furniture that we have is like hand-me-downs from the rest of the family. If someone's going to throw out a couch, we're like, "We'll have it." And if someone's going to throw out a table, we'll be like, "We'll have it." Don't throw out good stuff, give it to us. So, we just, yeah, I've sort of been raised to be a bit thrifty. And I think that might be where my financial anxiety comes from. Like, even though I'm okay, um, it's hard for me to recognize that I'm okay. And I still want to have some kind of financial independence, I guess. Just on this deeper level, like I could just mooch off my parents, but I still feel like I need to be doing something. It's just like, how do I manage that with my physical and mental health? Because both have been deteriorating over time, I think. And I don't know, I need to turn things around somehow, especially if if I'm going to stay alive, and chances are very good that I'm going to be stuck staying alive because I can't even poke myself with a needle. Like, I just get too squeamish. So, yeah, I'm stuck here. So if I'm stuck here, I have to try and improve my life, which means I have to get on top of finances to a point that I stop being anxious about that, and then I can just focus more on those basics of sleep, diet, exercise, keeping busy. Do I add in helping people to that? I don't know if that makes a difference to me, to be honest. But I should be more social. Sleep, diet, exercise, keeping busy, being social. Maybe that's how I'll change it. Because, yeah, we are, like, even though I have a disorder that makes me less social, I'm still from a species that evolved with socializing being a big part of survival. So there must be something there that I could gain from being socializing. Do you find socializing tiring? Yes. I think I do better these days, but maybe that's because I dissociate a bit. I don't know. I go on a bit of an autopilot. I've worked out how to be social. Psychologists are not bad. Some years ago, one of several psychologists and psychiatrists in family helped me. That's a whole problem within my mind. Yeah, it depends. I've seen some terrible psychologists. One of them said happy people live longer. And I'm like, no shit. That's probably because a lot of depressed people are suicidal and don't want to live longer, and telling me that I'm going to live longer does not motivate me to be happy. Like, it was this really backwards logic she had. And she also kicked the dog. She had a dog, black poodle called Prince. She kicked him out of the sessions, probably because I wanted to pat him instead of talk to her. And then my second psychologist, who I saw for many years, told me a lot of harmful stuff. She's the reason that she's probably the reason I didn't get diagnosed schizoid earlier, because I raised it with her, and she's like, no, you don't fit this case study, therefore you can't have it, and didn't properly explore with me the reasons I wondered if I had this. She also, when I said I was asexual, she said, are you sure you're not just gay? Which was annoying, because you don't tell a gay person, are you sure you're not just straight? And then when I did try a relationship and it went toxic, she convinced me to stay in the relationship, and she was saying stuff like, at least you're not bored when you're in this relationship, as if that's a good reason to stay in a bad relationship. Like, she was, in hindsight, really not good for me. Yeah, and then after that, I just had useless people. I saw an ACT psychologist, and she just referred me to a psychiatrist. She told my doctor, like, this chick needs to see a psychiatrist. I can't really help. And then the first psychiatrist doubled my dose of antidepressants, despite me saying it was ruining my appetite. That's how I got down to 47 kilos. And I was on a liquid diet because I couldn't eat anything, and I ended up on this, like, Sustagen hospital formula stuff. Yeah, thanks for that. It took me a long time to get to a healthy weight after that. And then the last psychiatrist, he was actually good. He listened to me about all these side effects I was having, but he wasn't, in the end, able to find an antidepressant or a similar drug that I could take and wean on. Like, we tried weaning off tablets to wean me onto one antidepressant, and I still got bad side effects once it reached a certain dose. So that was really frustrating. Like, we tried so much stuff, but in the end, he's just like, don't know what else to do. I could give you a referral for a tertiary referral, but they'll probably just go through the same stuff, and so I didn't go. So yeah, I've had a lot of bad luck. Maybe that's an Australian thing, or maybe I just got bad luck. I don't know. But I finally found a psychologist who, I feel she's trying to find the right approach for me, and it helps that I have the schizoid diagnosis now, because she's not treating me like every other patient. But yeah, I just don't know if it's going to go anywhere. And I mean, she has said there's only so much she can do, and there's other parts of my life that, I need to be looked at, particularly if I've got physical issues and also environmental issues, like living with a disabled brother is difficult. And I've come to recognize that it's difficult. I'm not shutting out that anymore. I'm not suppressing that anymore, because I do realize now what an impact it's had on me. Which, yeah, that's the whole glass child stuff, which you could look up if you haven't heard me talk about it before. Whoa, I just lost my train of thought again. Far out. There's lots of little crumbs here, sorry. I did eat earlier for those of you who turned up after the lunch portion of this video. But yeah, okay, so there's some other factors that I need to take care of. So environmental stuff. We've been putting my little brother to bed later, and that is helping my sleep because he's not waking up stupidly early and waking me up. So I am gradually starting to sleep better. That's yeah, that's a bit slow going, but trying. And then yeah, whether or not I talk to my doctor, well, I'll talk to my doctor about whether or not I need to have some more in-depth look at my gut and my hay fever, because those could be impacting my mood. And maybe there are other things that are impacting my mood that I don't know about, because like I have a standard blood test every now and then, but nothing much shows. So maybe there are other tests that would show something that is impacting my mood more. So there's stuff like that which psychologists can't do. On her end, though, yeah, I'm just not sure what we can look at even psychologically. I guess that's the part of the schizoid thing where I don't really see a problem with the way that I think. Maybe it's more a problem with the way that I feel. And then if you can't get to my emotions by changing the way I think, how else are you got to change my emotions? Like, I don't know, it's weird because like emotions, they can make me react differently to the same things that I think about. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up with what I'm talking about again, but it's like I can think about the same thing, but if I'm in a good mood or a better mood or a not shit mood, like whatever I'm thinking about won't upset me so much. But if I'm in a bad mood, then the exact same topic that I could be thinking about might be like completely devastating. And that's more just my emotions screwing with things on, but I'm still thinking the same stuff. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, so like if my thinking, I mean, I feel like a lot of stuff I think about is reasonably logical, And if that's the case, how do you shift it in such a way that it improves my emotions? I hope I'm making sense there. It's just, yeah, I don't really know what we can do to fix me in psychology, but I'm giving it a go. I know there's not a lot of good evidence for psychology helping schizoids, but I'm trying anyway, because what else am I going to do? My next options were either to have the magnetic brain thing, the TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, which I'm a bit nervous about just because I've had bad reactions to medications, but at least they get out of my system. Whereas if something goes wrong with the magnetic stuff, and I know it's rare to have side effects to TMS, but I have heard that occasionally people do, and I feel like chances are I'd be unlucky. And then how do you get that out of your system when it's in your brain and it's done with magnets? I'm nervous. And then my only other option that I could think of was inpatient stuff, but if I'm not actively throwing myself in front of trains, I don't know if I would make it into the public system, which means I'd have to go to the private system, which means a lot of money, because I'm definitely not covered by insurance for that. Uh, and then there's like group therapy, which I'm not keen on, and what could inpatient stuff really do for me? I don't know. So just like before I get there, I'm trying psychology again. I'm trying to do the things that she tells me to and read the paper, the handouts, and um, yeah, but I just don't know. I don't know. I'm really trying to get things back together, but sometimes I just feel like crap for no reason as well, or I can't identify the reason. Um, on the flip side, sometimes I'll have an awareness that I'm feeling down, but it'll feel like it's at a distance, and maybe that's like that emotional detachment, um, sort of emotional dissociation, or yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I've gone on way longer than I meant to. It's past 2 now, so I've really got to get onto these physio exercises. I'm sorry once again that I didn't warn anyone I was going to live stream. I didn't know I was going to live stream. Have you ever thought that thinking too much about an emotion can make it lose the emotional component? I don't know. Because sometimes if you think a lot about, like, if I'm depressed and I like badly, if I'm going into a spiral, like one of those full-on suicidal spirals, and if I keep thinking about, all that kind of stuff, if I think about wanting to die and stuff, I'll actually feel worse. And the only thing that stops that kind of a spiral is usually I'll have had a cry for a while, have gotten exhausted, and probably had a lie down and maybe even slept, and then after a while I'll get up and I'll still feel a bit groggy and down, but I'll be able to get on with stuff and eventually I'll come out of it more. Um, that's not something I can get out of just by overthinking about, the emotion itself. In terms of positive emotions, it's been a while since I've had like any strong positive emotions. Like, I guess I can see that my dogs are cute, but I don't think I'm feeling quite as much as I should feel when I'm interacting with them. It's a little bit hard to ask me about emotions because I don't have, I'm aware that I don't have as many emotions as I should, and I don't have enough positive emotions. Somehow they're just, I don't know where they've gone. I'm sure, like when I was younger, I had an awareness of being excited about stuff, but now I don't get that. Um, adrenaline is the closest I can get. I made a video about that. If you look up on my channel, anhedonia and adrenaline, I talked a bit about that emotional stuff. So yeah, if you're interested, you can look that up after this stream or whenever's convenient. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not the right person to ask about it. For example, what is the purpose of life? There isn't, but if you think about it too much, it can make you feel sad. It's a waste of time thinking about it. Oh, that's a bit different, I think. But see, I think my problem is more like, okay, so there is no point to life. Life is just a thing that happens, right? Meaning does not exist without humans, right? We give meanings to things. If we don't exist, there is no meaning. Does that make sense? Like even words don't have meaning except that we've agreed that they have meaning, okay? So by that view, the meaning of life could be whatever you want it to be, whatever makes you feel good, that's the meaning of life for you. The problem is if I don't feel good or if there's nothing that motivates me, if I don't have any kind of purpose, it's hard for me to find meaning in my life. Um, there's no inherent purpose to life, but you can make one up yourself. Um, it's just if you don't have anything in the first place, that's when I feel sad, maybe. Just like, like sometimes I don't think about it though, and I'll be fine. I'll just sort of get through life as best I can. But if I'm feeling down and if I'm feeling empty, that's when it hits more. I guess it depends on the person though, because um, for you, it might be the case that when you think about this stuff, it gets you down. And quite often CBT is good for you if thinking causes your feelings. If you have the feelings first though, or if you have some physical issue that causes you to feel something, maybe it's the other way around, and that's perhaps a little bit harder to treat with CBT. Maybe the CBT could treat your reaction to the emotion. I haven't had success thinking about it that way, trying to think, okay, this is just a feeling I'm having. That doesn't help me feel better. Usually it's just have a cry, go to bed, wake up, okay, the worst is over. That's usually what gets me through it. Um, if it's a really long period of feeling really bad, what I used to do is play video games, but with my own music in the background. So for a while I was playing like Stardew Valley, but I turned off their music and I turned on like growly, intense heavy metal in the background, and that would get me through those really bad depressed feelings. Um, yeah, I mean, like if thinking can get you down, then thinking can get you better, presumably. So, but yeah, it depends because people get depressed in different ways, and that's something important to remember about mental health is psychology is a statistics-based science because the brain is too complicated to do it any other way. So some people will find that thinking is what gets them down. Some people will find that's not the case. Um, sometimes you don't even know why you're down. You'll just wake up and feel horrible. And it's like, where's this coming from? Great, now I have to get through my day like this and, try and use whatever strategies I have to survive. But yeah, and also with schizoid. So this is something that, a lot of my schizoid videos, people comment and they have a particular way. They're like, oh, this is how this is, and also here's what helped me, so it will help you. And I'm like, I'm a different person to you. And also, like, yes, schizoid, okay, yes, there's a set category, but there's depending on, in the DSM there's 7 criteria, in the ICD there's 9 criteria. In both of these, you only need 4 of the criteria to be diagnosed as schizoid, right? And so in the ICD in particular, you could have people with completely different sets of criteria they fit and have no overlap, and they would still both be schizoid. And yet some people think that everyone who's schizoid is exactly the same, and it's just like, no, even with a personality disorder with some defined characteristics, there's still room for flexibility and for difference. There's also different ways you could interpret some of the criteria. So I think some people miss the parts where it says you have this or this or this. They just say, oh, you didn't fit this one, so that means we ignore the rest and just say you don't fit that criteria. And then, some of them say, like, it appears that they're this way. That doesn't mean they are that way, it's just that's how they appear, like. So yeah, anytime with mental health, and like different things help different people. So people are like, oh, take this drug, it was great for me. And I'm like, your body chemistry is not the same as mine. You shouldn't make that assumption. So yeah, a lot of people have different ways of experiencing mental health, I guess. I have a problem. It's really difficult to feel happiness or sadness, but I don't know how to explain it. I don't speak English very well. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's what... Was it you that left the comment about alexithymia? I think it was someone else, actually. I think that's where you have trouble knowing what it is that you feel. And I guess that's sort of what I like to hear. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, there are issues where you can just struggle to know how you feel. It's possible that I do feel good things and just don't recognize it. I realize that's a possibility, but I can feel really depressed and down. So yeah, I don't know if that happens one way, like if it's possible to only have trouble feeling in one direction. But yeah, no, I think alexithymia is the one where you have trouble identifying how you feel, which is a bit different to just not feeling much at all. But I think it's perhaps a similar spectrum of issues, I think I tend to be a bit numb. Is it just that I don't recognize my own emotions, or is it that I don't really have the right emotions? I wonder sometimes if being on antidepressants long term and then coming off them might have damaged me a bit, because your brain does get used to the serotonin over time and then stops producing some of it itself. And I wonder if I've got some long-term issues. But for cluster A, and specifically schizoid, do you think ICD or DSM is better at identifying? Okay, so I'll just read the next one. Yes, I feel it, but some things that make people sad, like the death of a relative, not for me. Okay, all right. I was gonna go and do my exercises, but these are some trickier questions. Same for things that make people happy. Okay, first of all, with the cluster A and schizoid, do I prefer the ICD or the DSM? In Australia, we use the DSM. I don't know why, because we're not American, but yeah, for some reason we seem to use the DSM more. So that's what I'm perhaps more familiar with. The ICD, okay, so the ICD-10 recognizes 9 characteristics for schizoid, as well as the basic personality disorder thing. But if you've looked at the ICD-11, schizoid doesn't exist anymore. And so if you're on the ICD system and you're staying in the ICD system, eventually your country is going to update to the ICD-11, and then technically no one is schizoid anymore. It's more just you have personality disorder and perhaps have a few specifiers of components of your personality disorder that stick out. But the word schizoid, as far as I know, isn't even used, which I can understand why they're doing it, because, personality, trying to shove everyone into a personality box is difficult. And then perhaps they're worried about some of the stigma But for me, I find it obscures the problem a bit. If you watch, George Carlin did a bit on soft language. If you look up George Carlin's soft language, I'm sure you'll find the skit, which is about, how language keeps getting softer. And so back in the day, you had shell shock, which is now called post-traumatic stress disorder. And the word has gotten a lot longer, and it's even harder to know. Like shell shock, you're like, okay, I know what's happened there. But post-traumatic stress disorder, you have to think about it for a while before you realize what it actually means. So schizoid, not everyone knows what that means, but it gives you an idea. And for those of us who do know what it means, you're like, okay, I know what that is. But if it's personality disorder with these particular issues highlighted, like that's a lot harder to sort of hone your brain into what it actually means. It's a bit like with naming coronavirus, for example. Like, we started off with location-based labels. So, the Indian strain or whatever, and then they changed them to be all these like Delta, Omicron kinds of stuff. But if you look at like the proper terminology, it's like BA1, BA2, and now we've got all these subvariants of Omicron, and instead of updating the name, now we're starting to call them BA4, BA5, and it's just like they're getting further and further away. Like I understand not wanting to use location labels because these days with the global, just the global environment we live in, things don't stay in one region. But it can help you understand the history of the virus, like the Indian variant, like we know it came from India. Okay, that's where they had these problems and it was a big deal. You can sort of understand the history of it. But when you start saying things like Delta, it's just a bit detached, and it doesn't immediately tell you where it was, and so that you can have the association with how bad it was. And then now we're talking about Omicron, and you're like, oh, this is the new scary one. But now we're also talking about the official BA 1, 2, 4, 5, whatever, and it's just like, it's getting a little bit too hard to just figure out what even it is. Which one am I supposed to be more concerned about? I don't know. Maybe it's not a good example, but I just feel like schizoid, straightforward to the point, as long as you have a little bit of background. But then personality disorder with these subtypes, these little emphasized things. Now it's like, okay, is that the same as this person who has these other things emphasized, or are they different, like things that maybe look similar on the surface but actually aren't? And then the other problem is, if schizoid really is potentially pre-morbid to schizophrenia and is potentially on the schizophrenia spectrum, is it right to shove schizoid into just personality disorders with no connection to schizophrenia anymore? Whereas in the old system of calling it schizoid, at least you've got the schiz part, which gives you a hint that maybe it is in the schizophrenia spectrum. But if you just call it personality disorder with a couple of things emphasized, there's no sign that it's attached to schizophrenia in any way. And, there have been cases, there's enough cases documented of it where someone has started off schizoid and gone on to become schizophrenic. And also a lot to do with schizoid personality disorder is similar to simple type schizophrenia, which is where you only have the negative symptoms of schizophrenia, not the dramatic positive symptoms of delusions and hallucinations and so on. And so the ICD-11, I understand what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're doing it successfully. So, whereas the DSM-5 at present is sticking to the schizoid label, which I think is maybe more useful. So I hope that is a bit of a rant, but I hope that gives you an idea about what I think of ICD versus DSM. I think DSM is a bit more American. ICD is a bit more World Health Organization, and I think the World Health Organization is falling into a bit more political correctness, and because of that, they might be losing some of the meaning of what some disorders are in their attempt to make people feel better, and also to try to have a little bit too much nuance. Like there's a point where you've got so much nuance that it's hard to even figure out what's what. And that's a problem I have, for example, with political views, because I can see too many different sides and too much nuance. So I don't even know what my political views are some of the time. And the most recent Australian election, I decided who to vote for like on the day, because I just had no opinions left. Like everyone's crap, and it's like who's the least crap politician I could vote for, and here are all the nuances and so on. And like, there's the leaders of the parties, but there's also the quality of the local candidates, and like just trying to weigh everything up. When you've got too much nuance, it makes decision making and all that stuff so much harder. Okay, so now the other Victor's question. Some things that make people feel sad, like the death of a relative, doesn't make you sad. And so, yeah, I kind of understand that, like when people on social media are upset about some celebrity death, I don't get it. I don't care. But if I say that I don't care, people get mad at me and say I'm being insensitive. And so I'm just like, these days I don't really say much. I'm just like, oh my God, here's another celebrity death. I'm just gonna have to hide every single post so that they don't keep coming up in my feed, because like I don't know this person. Even if they were in a band or something that I liked, I'm just like, I never met this person. I don't know what they're like in real life. I've got no real connection to them. They made some good music, but who cares? And people die eventually, right? So, but maybe that's the schizoid thing. I don't know. It's just like if it's someone closer to me, maybe I'll feel something. I did badly when my grandparents died, although I'm not sure if I was sad for them or if it just made me feel more existential, like I was wasting my life, and maybe I was more sad for me. I don't know. It was a while ago, so I'm not going to try and second guess, 5 years ago me, what I was thinking. But I just wonder if I don't know for sure what I was sad about. So maybe that's similar to your experience. Um, uh, yeah. The same for things that make people happy. By the way, I subscribed to your channel for an unboxing of a monitor. You seem like a nice person. Oh, the screen. Yeah, it's a good screen. I just have to put the screensaver on, because otherwise sometimes it does get a little bit of burn in, but it's not too bad and it goes away quickly. Oh, I should go. It's 11:25 p.m. in my country, and I have to finish an assignment from the university. Oh, okay, yeah, no worries. Sorry, it took me a while to get to your question, going on a ramble. But yeah, no, I've really got to go and do my physio exercises. So I'll give people like a little chance. I'm just gonna put away my plates and stuff. This is your last chance to like ask a question and get me on another ramble. Otherwise, I'm gonna go and do my exercises. So, because then I also want to have a cup of tea. How's the weather? Maybe I should. Oh, it looks like it might rain. Maybe I should take my dog out. Although he's already been out and we've already been playing. But if I do my exercises, maybe I don't need to walk myself. Anyway, yeah, no, I want to do my exercises, have some tea. Was there something else that I was going to do? My God, brain, what's going on? I feel like there was something else after the exercises, but I don't remember. Dropping in at the end to say hello, haven't stopped by in a while. Yeah, hey, sorry I didn't give warning, and sorry it's been a while since I made video. One last question. With schizoid, what do you think? Are you asking, do I get angry? Or, I think I get annoyed. I'm not sure I would call it anger, but I don't know. When people are angry, I don't really think I experience what they seem to be experiencing. But of course, I can't know for sure. I think I'm more likely to get annoyed or frustrated. I feel like anger is too strong a word. I know I don't get that like full-on rage where I become incapable of thinking or so on. It's, yeah, annoyance and frustration. Angry or more irritated. I would say more irritated. When I'm forced to go to a funeral, I try to make it seem as though I'm saddened by that person's death, but for me, death is only a part of the natural process of all living beings. Yeah, funerals are awkward, I gotta say. But it's funny you mention that, because I've been watching Digimon, but I've also been thinking of watching Dexter from the start because I used to really like Dexter, um, and at the time, for those of you who know, like, this channel is called Destroyer Mariko, and Destroyer is sort of like the more dark side stuff. And for a while, I thought that I was watching Dexter just because I liked that he went out and killed people. Um, but when I look at the quotes that I've taken from Dexter, and I've on my Facebook, you won't be able to see this, but on my private Facebook, in the quotes, favorite quotes section, I've got a lot of quotes from Dexter, and when I look at it, a lot of it sounds really schizoid. Like, he has that one where he's at a funeral and he's saying something like, he doesn't like funerals because and it's not because he's a killer. It's just because there's so much emotion that he doesn't know how to fake that emotion. And so he just goes to these funerals with like dark sunglasses and just like is super quiet, and people think that he's, having a terrible time emotionally if he just does that, but really he can't actually feel what's going on. And I just realized like all these quotes, there's so many quotes in Dexter that I relate to on that more schizoid level. Like it's not really the violent stuff that I've quoted, it's the socially weird stuff I've quoted. When my grandmother died, I grew up until I was 15 years old. I didn't want my relatives to think I was insensitive. They were really suffering. Yeah, that's trying not to be insensitive is difficult. Although I think like when my grandparents died, I was able to feel a little bit more, although I was on and off medication like all over the place. So maybe that could have been part of it. But and then the other thing is, until that point, I don't think my parents had really understood that my depression was a real problem. It was just more of that, the sort of usual misunderstanding stigma where like, oh, you're just lazy and all that kind of stuff. No, that's when they realized I had a real problem. And that's also when I realized that I didn't have to go and get some amazing job to support myself. Like my parents, I started to accept more of my parents' help. And so I don't know if I was feeling more or if I was simulating more feeling, because if I didn't, then perhaps I worried that, my parents wouldn't look after me. It's hard for me to know what my own motivations are. Like, am I that selfish that I'm only acting a particular way so that people will look after me? Or do I actually feel what I appear to be feeling? Maybe that's a dissociation thing as well, is just like my brain compartmentalizes all these different parts of my experience, and it's hard for me to piece them together. Um, and perhaps dissociation is something I need to talk to the psychologist more about, because I don't really know. Like, it took me long enough to admit that I have so much dissociation, because, like, when I see it described, I mean, there's different forms of dissociation, but some of the descriptions, it just seems a lot more extreme than what I experience. But I realize there's something there going on, and maybe I'm dissociating from the dissociation, if that makes sense. Like I'm so detached that I can't even recognize that I'm going through it or admit that it's happening to me, or I don't know. See, the one thing that is tricky about thinking too much is then I think about the process of thinking and then I start questioning, what do I really think or really feel? How much am I just maybe putting on somehow to gain some social advantage? Am I the kind of person who would do that? And if I am the kind of person who would do that, why is it so hard for me to see it for myself? And now I'm actually starting to get a bit dissociated because I'm thinking too much about it. And now I'm like, why am I talking about this stuff? Why am I telling YouTube all this stuff? Okay, yeah, I'm really gonna go now and just do these exercises. It's been almost 2 hours anyway, which is probably an hour longer than I thought this would go. Yeah, so once again, I'm sorry I don't plan these things well. If I was going to do the whole like try and turn YouTube into my job, I would try to be better planned than this, but yeah, I'm just too chaotic. Oh, some news. If you're in Sydney, I know there's not too many of you in Sydney, but it sounds like in August, my studio is going to do an open weekend, so you'll be able to just drop in and visit if you want to. I'm going to try to be there all weekend, but I'm still trying to find out what's going on. Somehow I feel that after listening to you in some of your videos, I can understand a little how you think. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much I can talk. You have to turn all the thoughts into words and then get them out there, and it takes time. But yeah, I don't know. If you find it interesting, then it feels less like I'm just being a narcissist. Because sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? Am I so up myself that I have to, it's like taking photos of your food and sticking them all over Instagram. It's like, who cares about this stuff? But, if it's interesting, if it's helpful, then I can tell myself I'm not just being, some kind of narcissist. I remember back in the day talking about the destroyer stuff and associating well with the dissociation type thing. I don't think any of it's narcissistic. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't talk about that stuff as much these days. I think I became a lot more insecure, partly because I've changed over time, but I think also partly because more people who know me in real life know that I have YouTube now, and sometimes some of them watch, and it just makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. I think because half the point of all that was that it is a hidden thing, and so when I was more anonymous, much easier to talk on the internet, but now I'm not anonymous, and I do have a little bit too much ego. I'm sorry. I don't know where that cut off, but yeah, I'm not the kind of person who can just pick up a pseudonym, pick up a new username that no one knows me by, and then not show my face. Entirely understandable. That can be kind of strange for someone, personally, like, hey, what's all of this about? Yeah, especially if I'm like, yeah, so there's this other character in my head. I'm not sure if it's real, but it thinks it's real. And yeah, it's probably listening to every single thing you're saying. For me, it's interesting to listen to you because you think differently from others. Yeah. I've been told that a lot, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good because if I didn't think so differently, maybe life wouldn't be so difficult. Um, but unfortunately, this is how I think, and it doesn't seem compatible with the world that I'm living in. But there is no other world to live in, so here I am. I've got to try and find a way with my way of thinking. How do I stay alive in this world without completely losing the plot? But yeah, and yes, I have told my psychologist about the destroyer stuff. We haven't really looked into it. She asked me how much I wanted to go into it, and I was like, I'm not sure because I don't know how much impact this has on my real problem. My real problem is the depression, the lack of motivation, the whole directionless, why am I even here? I don't know if dissociation and the destroyer thing, I don't know if that is part of it or if it's just an extra thing that's kind of interesting about me, but isn't the reason that I feel like everything sucks. So we may explore it, we may not. I've sent her some stuff to look at, and I'm not sure what she thinks. She did use the term alter. For those of you who know DID terminology, she's like, I've said I don't think it's that, but because we don't have any better words to use, she's asked about, so I think it was a safety question, like, is this, for lack of a better word, is this alter a danger to you, and I'm like, no, it's fine these days, I can handle it. For me, all my life, it has been difficult to understand why others think or act the way they do. It's interesting to hear someone who thinks differently. Yeah, psychology, social psychology is fun. I studied psychology for like one semester, and you sort of get a taster of all the different branches of psychology. And I thought abnormal psychology would be fun, but actually it's kind of not. Um, but at the time I was more interested in like serial killers or so on. And it turns out most serial killers are actually really pathetic people. And so that's not fun. It's not like in the movies or whatever where they're clever. They're not. They're really sad people. But social psychology is all about screwing with people. And we had this really good lecturer who claimed to have done funny experiments on her brother. And we're just listening to it like, this is great. Along the lines of it feeling sensibly as more of an individual entity, more than like a different identity to yourself, of yourself type of thing. Not to get you on a ramble of anything, of course. I don't know all the details of DID, but that's the best I can describe some of my own experience. Yeah, I don't know what to think about it anymore. because it's not as strong as it used to be. And maybe that's out of practice, or maybe it's just how my brain's changed, but it's less of an issue for me than it used to be. In terms of like, I think it must be a part of me somehow, because like it's all in the same brain, right? So how can it be anything different? I don't believe in anything supernatural, so I don't believe in spirits. I don't believe in the idea that I could be possessed. I think it's just some quirk of my brain that's probably chunked off from the main part of my mind somehow, and it's taken on its own character and yeah, somehow made itself more separate. But it's different from DID because I mean, there are some people with DI or who claim to have DID, who claim to have alters, who perhaps are a bit more like that Mr. Hyde type thing. But generally, DID is more like they're just like regular people all shoved in one head, and they're like often different ages and genders and stuff, and I don't get it. And then they just have more and more and more, and I'm just like, there's no way a brain could reasonably sustain that many distinct personalities. I've seen like structural dissociation has a different way of thinking about things that is perhaps more reasonable for some people, but there are issues with that as well. I don't know, it's complicated, and we're at 2 hours, so I'm not going to get into it too much. Glad it's like a smaller part. Definitely helps better focus on some other things. But it's complicated, and I don't really have time to go into how I currently experience it. Because sometimes it can still be pretty distracting. But it's not. I'm not acting on it, and you'll notice I'm calling it it. I'm not referring it to it as a she. I've intentionally taken the personhood out of the way that I refer to it, because at the moment I'm trying not to encourage it. I know if I think about it too much, that's something that will happen. And I think with some people who think they have DID, they may have had it encouraged, so on, and so they might not. I don't want to invalidate anyone's disorder, but I just have doubts, okay? I have doubts. It's okay to have doubts and to question things. And I'm not singling anyone out, so that's fine. But I can see a danger where if I were to humor it as much as I used to, then it would become more real just by having more practice in my brain. So yeah, I've been, I don't know, like, after talking to a few people when it came back, and because it genuinely disappeared for a while, but after talking to a few people, including a friend who studied a bit of psychology, I just thought, I don't know that I want to encourage it. I mean, there are some things about it that do feel like it causes me to feel differently, and not all those feelings are unpleasant. And so maybe there's an argument there to just go with it. But with all the stuff that I find a bit more disturbing, I'm like, I don't know if it's worth enough, if that makes sense. So for the moment, I'm just going the cautious route where I don't encourage what is not really the healthiest way of thinking, perhaps. Maybe if I talk to my psychologist and she thinks it's okay to explore it more, I might do it again. But, even just thinking about it, I'm starting to get a little bit like, I don't know. I still have a lot of anxiety to do with it. And if I talk about it too much, it will like even depersonalize. I don't want to get the terminology confused. Even taking personhood away from it in the way that I refer to it, talking about it still sort of gets some of those feelings going, and yeah, it's a bit unsettling and distracting. Anyway, I really need to go and do these exercises. It's like my little brother's going to be home soon, I think. Or does he come home at 3 or 4? Wow, this live stream really went on longer than I meant it to. You guys are really good at distracting me. But no, I'm going to go. Thanks for hanging out with me and watching me eat earlier on, I guess. But yeah, no, so for people who are in Sydney, my art studio, I don't know where I will put an announcement. I'm still waiting to hear if there's like an official Facebook event page or whatever. But yeah, we're going to have an open weekend in August. And if you want to pop by, you can. At this stage, I can't guarantee I'll be there, but I'm going to try to be there both days. I might not be there in the morning because I'm not a morning person. And, oh, you've been watching too. See you guys. But yeah, so if you're in Sydney, that's something to keep an eye on. And yeah, more details coming. And then you can see what my little studio is like. It's probably not a huge exciting thing, so I wouldn't like come to Sydney specifically for that. But if you happen to be in the area, want to see what my studio is like, want to see what the other studios, in the same place are like. I think some of the other artists are running little workshops and things if you book in. Um, and then there's other stuff, like it's a local council thing, so there'll be other artsy events in the general area. And then it's close to like you could keep going to the beach as well if that's what you're into. So yeah, just a heads up that that's a thing that's happening. Not really an official meetup, and if you see me in person, there's a good chance I won't talk like this unless I've already pumped up somehow. I may just be super shy and awkward. So that's something to be aware of. How I am on camera is not how I am in real life unless I've got a decent whack of adrenaline or something like that. So yeah, and then as for the next video or live stream, I don't really know. Oh my God! Thank you so much. That's a super sticker. Keep it up. I haven't seen a super sticker in ages, and I think this is the first one I've got on the phone. What is he? Oh, he's exercising! Yeah, that's what I've got to do. Thank you so much for the for the sticker. That's a good sign for me to go and yeah, do the exercises. Because it's gonna take me a while now to get my core going so that I don't have so many back problems and make my life better. All right, yeah. So thank you everyone. I will see you whenever. I might upload a small video about my dog later because he was playing with his favorite ball and I thought it was cute. And I know no one really, well, most of you don't care about my dog videos, but I care, so I'll probably post it at some point. Just so, like, sometimes I use YouTube as a backup. So, because like you'll notice when I went back a few years and deleted almost all my videos, the ones that I kept up were usually videos that had my pets in them. And that's partly because I'm using it as a backup system for my memories of my pets. So yeah, it's not all about entertaining the people, it's about remembering my animals. So dog does cute thing. Better put it on YouTube just in case my computer dies and I lose all my files. All right, that's all. I'm gonna go and do my keep it up working exercise workout. I'm not using weights, but not using weights yet, actually. She might give me weights at some point, and then I've gotta, oh my God. Oh my God, it could get carried away. All right, I'm going for real now. See you later, guys. Oh wait, hang on. Okay, bye. I think this is